Victim update. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be in the world. It has been a very long time since my last update of the Diary of an ID Theft Victim series. In fact, I think this would be episode number 14. And it's been such a long time, and it has been such an incredible journey. So many challenges. In fact, there are so many things to say that I'm going to try and keep this as brief as possible. So much has happened since the last attempt to make an update, which was a very brief update. It is real. That's all I can tell you, people. It is so real that I think some of you may notice that some of the videos that I attempted to make over the last years, I think the first few videos were actually 8 years ago. And it has been 9 years of constant upheavals, nightmare, a literal nightmare going on and on and on and on and on, seeming like it would never end. And all the while, I have been denied my rights as a human being, as a citizen of two nations. I have been denied my rights again and again and again to have legal assistance given to me, to have a chance for legal redress, to have a chance for this issue, for this problem, for this crime, in fact, to be taken seriously, because until I can provide enough evidence, I'm unable to prove my claim that, yes, my identity has been stolen. But I know for a fact that there is enough what they would call circumstantial evidence to prove that I have actually been victimized. Again and again, I've been victimized. I can confirm that I am no longer in Jamaica, no longer in a situation where I'm almost being held prisoner, captive in my own country. I did manage to finally, just a few months ago, get away from a very terrible situation where, since the 2016 issue with being unfairly and illegally arrested, I was arrested on more than one occasion for trying to stand up for my legal rights. Again, even in Jamaica, in a court of law. I cannot believe the amount of things that have happened along the way. And this definitely needs to be documented in more than just these video diary series. I have had all of my constitutional rights in Jamaica violated, not just my right to legal redress or assistance in the court. In a very minor case of an alleged destruction of property, I was totally violated, and I have had all of my constitutional rights violated, including my right to work. I have now returned back to the UK, and some of you may have seen in the background, this is a picture of me and my younger brother when we were just children. I've had to come back to start from zero. And again, this video diaries is real. This is reality. As you can see, I've just come in today from going out to sort out some very serious issues and trying to seek some legal assistance again. And I haven't even plucked my eyebrows. I haven't even got around to doing my hair and things that normal women would like to do, nails and things like this in order to feel better and to present myself better. But I am very thankful. I have a lot to be thankful for. And every day I remind myself of how much I have to be thankful for and how much God has been merciful to me and helped to preserve me to go through so many challenges, so many obstacles, so many near-death experiences. Literally, I am here by the grace of God Almighty and because of some good people. I looked back through some of my videos yesterday that I had made over the years, not just the diary series, the Diary of Identity Theft Victim series, which I eventually evolved into Diary of ID Theft Survivor, because I wanted very much to ensure that I believed and I visioned every day that I would survive, that I wouldn't be a victim, that I wouldn't be a statistic, that I wouldn't end up on a slab somewhere in some mortuary, in a morgue, especially not in Jamaica with all of the political issues and the strife and and the corruption, especially since 2016 when there was a change of government. I lost all of my front teeth. In one of the last videos that I made, I showed the world my teeth. Today is a very special monumentous day, and that is why I'm making this video, because after having a temporary denture made for me in Jamaica, I went through a terrible experience trying to get out of the country. And somehow I went to have a meal with one of my first closest friends, one of my oldest friends, and was being violated every day. And we couldn't get proper service in the restaurant, which I should probably name and shame them, but for legal reasons, I won't mention it right now, just in case I do decide to take up a case with them later. But somehow in the whole fiasco that happened when we tried to order something to eat, I lost my denture, and that was after only having it for 2 weeks. And I had to travel back home without any front teeth again. And it's quite embarrassing because people do really judge people based on appearances. And this is why I'm trying to make these videos as real as possible. You can see this is no take one, take two situation. And I have worked in production, in TV production, and I know how to make a proper video production. I don't do take after take after take. I turn on the camera and I speak to you. Because one of the things that God blessed me with is a very articulate, eloquent, verbal ability. And I am a writer. I am a communicator. My profession is writer, even if I'm not currently employed, contracted to anyone. I do write, and I have a publisher that I registered in Jamaica, and I publish poetry and blogs and other creative writing. So I am a natural skilled communicator. I started speaking very young. My mum told me I was speaking by age 1, and I've never stopped since. So this is me. I am me. I also have a song that I wrote called This Is Me, and I had planned to eventually produce an album entitled This Is Me. This is who I am. This is Amechi, however you want to pronounce it, Ami, or Miss May, as I've now become known as. My creative consultancy is May Creative Consulting, which is MAE, and it stands for Music, Arts and Entertainment Creative Consulting Services. I'm currently trying to reset and restart and rebuild the business from back home in the UK, but it's unfortunate having to start from literally square one over again because of all that has been done to deter me. And I have noticed today when I searched on Google that if I search under identity theft victim, diary of an identity theft victim, there are so many other victims of identity theft. This is a very common crime. There are also people who are trying to use this as a marketing platform, who have dressed themselves up and put on makeup and gone through the trouble of creating wonderful productions that are listed. When you search, you don't find my videos because I'm just a very small person in this huge, big world. The world is a big onion, and there's so many layers and layers and layers. But I'm very thankful to those who are truly my supporters, who will take the time to follow the links that are on my social media profiles and to look at my videos and to see what evidence I have provided of the struggle, of my own journey, of the story, of what I have really, truly been through. And those who know me will know when they look in my eyes that this is not a lie, this is not made up, this is not a publicity stunt, this is not a cry for help, this is not a plea for attention. I am not that desperate. If I wanted to promote myself, I would put on makeup, put on a face, I would put some work into editing these videos and producing them properly if that's what I wanted to do. What I had intended from the start is to document a diary, to provide evidence of my journey and to provide evidence should in case anything happen to me, either that I end up unable to speak, or God forbid that I don't make it, or if I was to end up being detained and need, for whatever reason, because of people using my identity for criminal intent, that there is an evident documentary series of this journey. Even still, with all the efforts that I have made, people will still make accusations. People will still say that I'm lying. People will always have different opinions. But what I would like to know is, do they have the evidence to prove anything that they are saying? What I can state for the record is that apart from losing my teeth and apart from being assaulted many times and abused and having all of my rights violated, that I have come back to the UK and I can see that it is going to be a daily struggle. Being away from a country from it for a long period of time does make life difficult. Rebuilding, going to a new country and starting over is always difficult. Many people have this dream of going to live in a place in the sun, especially when winter is coming like now and we get cold, and it is a really wonderful ideal, but I can tell you from my experiences firsthand that although I have a right to live in Jamaica, that it isn't as simple as it looks. Starting a new life in a new country is very difficult. And even coming home back to your place of origin and starting over when you've been away for a long time is very difficult. Having to deal with answering the questions, having to deal with renewing identity documents, paperwork. It takes a while to rebuild yourself in society and be in a position where you're able to obtain work, when you're in a position to be able to prove your address, when you're in a position to be able to even buy a property or move forward with your life. Everything takes time. It's a process. And that process is not easy at all, and even more so difficult and challenging when you don't have so much support or you don't have so much resources made available to you. And if people want to be obstructive, it is so easy for them to do that because corruption exists everywhere. What I am going to state for the record today is that I know for a fact from all of the circumstantial evidence that has come to light that somebody has in fact done a lot to deter other people from assisting me, to try to obstruct me from making any progress in my life. There were many people who seemed to be quite surprised that I made it back to London alive. There were many people that seemed to be quite surprised that they were expecting me to never live. They were almost looking forward, it would seem to me, by some of the expressions on their face, to not having to deal with me, not having to deal with this issue, not having to deal with the problem. There are many people who seem to be so determined to avoid problems, to turn them away, to not want to deal with something that seems to be not easy, that is challenging, that is difficult to deal with. Someone like me who's very eloquent and articulate and able to debate and counteract their arguments. They don't like very much when somebody has too much to say or when someone is so much more articulate than them. People don't like to be challenged, and not only individuals, family members, people in society, but the system itself. The authorities don't like to be challenged. But how will we ever improve anything, not just for myself, but for ourselves, for our common good, for the greater good, if we're not able to deal with the challenges? Because as I've learned from my situation and from my journey, challenge is what makes you a better person. And challenges are the only thing, complaining sometimes when necessary, is the only thing that will improve services, that will improve the system, and that will eventually also, hopefully one day, improve the laws. So if there really are so many other people who have been sufferers of identity theft, so many other victims of this crime that is so prevalent, we all need to do something to change the system, to lobby the governments and to advocate for systemic changes, that our crime that has affected us, this crime that has affected us, can be taken seriously, and that new legislation can be brought into pass. New laws, new bills in government need to be made so that our selves and our personal documents and information stored on computers, especially specifically the processes in the Data Protection Act, and establishing not only the act but actually affirming it and enforcing these acts. A lot more work needs to be done to protect us, because what I'm most disappointed with coming back is that so many people are taking it as normal to just photocopy people's ID and upload them onto computer systems and ask you to attach your documents to emails to send to them as proof of identity, but they're not taking into consideration how much of a danger that is. And some of these companies are not even based in the UK. And if a company is based overseas and they have your information stored on a computer and a breach occurs, how do we deal with that? You know, how difficult is it to take action legally in a court, even in your own country, let alone in a country overseas? There are just so many issues. There are so many problems. There are so many possible problems. There are so many grey areas in this system that I really do feel a lack of care, a lack of duty of care. You know, there's a thing called corporate social responsibility, and I'm feeling that there's a real lack of corporate social responsibility being exercised by most of these businesses, most of these companies and corporations, and mostly the government needs to take these serious matters into consideration, because it is not just something that risks my safety or your safety or another victim's potential safety. It is a risk to national security. And this is what I detailed in one of my emails to my local MP here in the UK. And what I've been stating over and over again to the government in Jamaica and to the government that I've written, you know, the ministers and the departments that I've written to about my own personal case, that this is not just a problem for me. This is a matter of social responsibility. This is a matter of public concern. This is a matter of national security. And may I just add, I'm going to share this moment. I have not made any public statement about this, but I lost my mother who I haven't seen for almost 10 years, earlier this year. And I pleaded with her 10 years ago to speak with me about certain things that are of major concern to me, that are of major concern concerning this issue of identity theft and about our family issues. A lot of things have come to light along the journey, which I won't share right now on this video. But can I tell you that there are people, it hurts me so much. There are people who are relentless. And disappointing as it is, there are people who are callous and cold-hearted enough that even now, when I am grieving, and I have a right to grieve, I have a right to be in a bereavement right now. I have a right to wear black according to tradition for up to 1 year. I have a right to wear black after the loss, in mourning for a loved one. There are people who don't care. They made it very obvious to me that even after I heard that she'd already passed, when I was still in Jamaica, and all the efforts that were made to stop me from getting on a plane to get back to even be at her memorial celebration of life event. I didn't even make it back in time for her funeral service. I didn't even make it back in time for my mother's funeral. I didn't make it back in time to see her. Even after all of that, there are still those who are relentlessly pursuing, trying to stop me from having any right to live here in the UK, from having any rights at all. There are still, that's why I know that somebody is using my ID, because they were still trying everything, even up until when I got off the plane and I was at the train station, at the tube station, trying to get to the event. They were trying every step of the way to obstruct me, to humiliate me, to persecute me, to abuse me. Even the taxi driver himself was abusive to me, and I had to call another taxi driver just to stop me from getting to the event, to stop anyone from seeing me, to stop my rights from being affirmed over and over again, because they had already decided in their mind that I would never return home. They had already decided in their mind, and they believe that their mind is that much more powerful than my right, than God, who gave me life, and my mother, who brought me into this world physically, and my father, whoever else has assisted me to be here today. They believe, whoever these criminals are, who have criminal intent, that have taken my paperwork, that what they want is so much more important than my rights and the constitutional rights and the government, than the law. They honestly believe they're above the law, that they even try to stop me from getting to that event. And every single day since I've been back, I am still being interfered with and deterred. I am determined, in spite of the fact that every day I'm still being threatened, indirectly, even threatened. Every time I step out the door, I have to be praying every day. So since I've returned to the UK, I thought it would be a relief. I thought I would feel so much better. So many people thought that I would be so much better off in the UK, but I am finding that there is still so much corruption here, because they still want to deny my rights every day. There are still people here that say, no, I shouldn't be alive. I shouldn't be allowed to be here. And some of them are not legally in this country. Otherwise, they wouldn't be seeking after somebody else's paperwork in this manner. Some of them have come here and they've betrayed their own country. They have no loyalty, and they think that they can continue to act in a lawless manner to erase whoever they want to erase here. I'm telling you, people, the UK has become so corrupt. It's so different now than it was 10 years ago. Almost 10 years ago, I left. It took me 9 years to get back. It's so different now. There's completely different culture here, different people here. You can hardly find any more real English people. There are hardly any people who have been here, grown. Well, no, there are still some, but you know, there's a lot of people who were not born here, didn't go to school here, and because of how they've been empowered and the type of powers that they have, underground powers, dark powers, they believe they can do whatever they want. There's so many lawless people here. There's so much crime here. The police cannot even deal with the amount of crime that is here. It's obvious that with all the resources that they have in the UK, it's one thing in Jamaica, they're lacking resources. They have so much resources here and still they can't manage because there's so much people here. The population of London itself was 12, 13 million. I'm not sure how much it is now. And there's so much crime. It's so prevalent. It's so popular. It's so much that it's hardly possible for the officers and the authorities to deal with that amount of criminals. They're outnumbered. It's hardly possible for them to attend to every report. But still I've made reports, and still I will continue to make reports, and still I will continue to do whatever is necessary, whatever I have to do to affirm my rights, to do my part, to allow them to do what they need to do, even in retrospect, even if it is at the time when I make the report, they don't take me seriously. At least there is a record. At least they can't come to me if they're investigating any future possible crime and say, I didn't make a report. Why didn't you report this? I have made the reports. I have been persistent, even if it has been over a number of years. I'm not going to them constantly harassing them. I'm not constantly, persistently, relentlessly trying to bother them or to be a nuisance, because I am intelligent and knowledgeable enough and educated enough to understand that it is an immense job. It is a big job trying to police a big metropolis city like London. The Metropolitan Police have a lot to deal with on a daily basis, and I'm very thankful for those good officers who do take the time to dot every I and cross every T and be certain when they're investigating that they're not overlooking, but they are being meticulous and detailed, just as I would be in their investigations. But you know, humans are humans. We all make mistakes. We all overlook things. We all have fears. We all have insecurities. However, I'm hoping that with their exceptional training that they are so much more able to see, even more than I can. Although being a victim gives you a certain perspective, because obviously looking into your own life is your responsibility, and you will be able to see things that another person outside of you will not see because they are not so closely involved with the problem. They are not the one who's interacting with that issue on a daily basis because they have a whole workload or pile of pending issues to deal with. I am not their only case. I would not be the only victim per se of that crime. And as I have tried to rid myself of the stigma of being a victim, I am a survivor. I am definitely a survivor, but this is still not over. This journey is still continuing. I'm still fighting to reestablish myself back in my home country. I'm still fighting for my rights. And again, as I said, in fact, there are people who have made it very clear that they are quite willing, even after the passing of my mother, to attempt to continue to deny me my rights, even to grieve and erase me. And in actual fact, one of the first things I mentioned to the police at the station is that I do feel that someone has taken my identity, and now, because they are opportunists, identity thefts, and most criminals are opportunists, now that they have managed to get rid of one of my parents. And by the way, my dad only survived by the grace of his mercy. I'm not even sure, some miracle my dad is still alive, because he went through a near-death experience on more than one occasion while I was away. Thank God my father is still here somewhat in the living, although he has been very disaffected by so much, and he has very much illness and some conditions to deal with, you know, some medical conditions that are still not fully explained to me. My mother has passed, and there are people who are really dastardly and dark enough to try to go around my rights and avoid dealing with me. We'll see what happens when, enough time has passed, if they intend to administer the will properly. But it seems that they are trying to literally deny me, deny that I exist. And after everything that I've been through, and I haven't seen my mum and I wouldn't see her again, they also seem to want to replace me and take anything that I'm entitled to in her will, including all of her personal effects, and to act as if I don't even exist, as if I don't even have a right. And beneficiaries of a will do have a right to contest the will. They also have a right to ask for an explanation. They have a right to ask the trustees to explain themselves. And it would seem that they are using all kinds of intimidation and manipulation to try to take everything that I'm entitled to from me, even after the death of my mother. They have no principles, no moralities, not even the slightest small principle, because there are some things that are more ungodly. There are some things that are more sinful than others. And coming between a mother and a daughter while they're alive is one thing. Coming between a person and their last rites is another thing. Now, even after the passing of my mum and me being in grief, they don't care. These people are unscrupulous. There's nothing that they will not do, and it is it's a disappointment and a shock to me. But it's not a shock to me. I'm not surprised. But there is more and more circumstantial evidence coming to light about the fact that there is some persons here who definitely have gone out of their way to disturb my life, so much so, to destroy me, so much so that they have taken almost everything from me. And now, even after the passing of my mum, they intend to take away my right to be her daughter, to prove that I'm her daughter and to be a beneficiary, and also my right to be affirmed while I'm grieving, that I am entitled to grieve, to take away my entitlements, to act as if I don't exist, as if I have no right, as if they can just replace me, that they are her daughter, that now she's not here, they can just conveniently just slip themselves in and not only take so much that they've taken from me already, my opportunities, my constitutional right to work, to take away so much earnings and things and potential that could have been something positive or successful, but also to take away anything that I'm entitled to, even the right to even grieve, even the right to even go and take care of her personal effects. It's just incredible. They have caused a rift between me and my whole entire family. I'm almost entirely alone, without anyone to speak to or relate to. These people who commit these crimes are not just doing it to afford themselves an opportunity. They are wicked. It's very personal. And so that is why I make these videos, in an attempt to be able to express myself and vent my frustrations, and also to provide some evidence of my journey. This is Diary of an Identity Theft Survivor. I will no longer allow the stigma of victim to attach itself to me. I have survived, but yet the journey is not over. I am still going through a struggle on a day-to-day basis. All prayers, all supporters, all genuine support, all those people who are willing to lobby the government, to write letters, to send emails, to affirm our right, and to actually claim our right, and to stand up for our rights, for the system to be changed, for systemic changes. I can hardly speak properly with these new teeth. Systemic changes to be made. Demand our rights. If there are really that many victims of identity theft, demand our rights. The rights must change, because honestly, it's not just our lives that are being destroyed. Just imagine this. You write a will. You work hard all your life. You want to leave something for your children. If you're a victim of identity theft, who will take that paperwork and use it when you're no longer here? It's very sad. Who will claim your inheritance if the system doesn't change, if they do not do something about white-collar crime, about paperwork crime? People think that crime and violence is just what you can see physically. Blood, scars, physical disabilities, or physical injury. There is more than just physical injury. There are injuries that can occur that cannot be seen by the naked eye. There is abuse and violence that can occur that cannot just be seen by the naked eye. In fact, some people are surprised because even after more than one serious physical attack, I have managed to come back without any major scars on my face, at least, or on my body. There's just one scar from an incident that I had to have a small surgery on many years back, and I have got scars, but you cannot maybe see them, mental scars from this journey. My character has changed. I've lost a lot of confidence. I've lost a lot of zest for life. But I do believe that if God brought me through all this, he must have brought me through for a purpose. And one of my purposes may be to also educate some of you all about the truths, the facts of life, and also to consult. I am a creative consultant. I usually concentrate and focus more on creative consultancy, but I am really experientially now in a position to be able to consult on these matters and to advise people about how to keep themselves as safe as possible. No one can guarantee your safety, but how to practice things to keep you as safe as possible, to keep your documents as safe as possible, how to practice, things that will help other people to deal with conflict and problem resolution, and how to deal with issues of identity theft. And if anyone wants or needs my consultancy services, they can always contact me through my social media profiles or by emailing me at missa for Apple, the word media, E for echo, @gmail.com. That's missamiediae@gmail.com. I pray that I'm able to make an update again soon. And one of these days I may just be a little bit more better prepared. I don't write a script, I don't edit, and I could do. There are many tools available that I have right here on my phone. I have video editors. I do it like this so that anybody who takes the time to watch this can understand that this is not about me presenting a production. This is not about me editing something and making it look good. This is a reality. This is real life. This is a real diary. This is a real account of my own experiences. And if anyone needs me to come to court and testify, I'm very willing to do so. God bless you all. I pray I will see all those who are deserving of my presence one day soon. I pray that there is someone out there that may have learned something from this video message. And I pray that I will still be here until I'm old and grey to assist some of you, to teach you, to edutain you along the way. God bless you all.